Hello and welcome to the Pugsley Crew Reviews. This week we're discussing a film called Midnight Run, which was picked by the guest, which is Jeffyard. How are you doing, Jeff?
Hello, I'm good, thank you.
So before we talk about this film, right, why did you
Okay.
pick this film?
Because I thought it's a bit more basic than the last film that I picked, which was Cloud Atlas. At the time, I also thought it was a lot shorter, but it's only slightly shorter.
Well, it's a
Um,
good hour
and
shorter.
a good hour, yeah. I remember liking it when I first saw it a few years ago. So I thought, it'd be worth watching. The first movie that came to my head when you asked me. So
Surprising that it come to your head considering, like, I don't know, it's like a 1988 film, so it would have been something, you know, you would have been probably too young to have seen when it came out. Stuff like that. So
I went a couple of years. Well, I say a couple of years back. It might have been 10 years or so back. But I decided to because I've not seen too many films or movies and stuff. It's rare that I bother watching TV or go to the cinema. So
yeah.
um, I went to educate myself on quite a few classic films that I hadn't seen. So Psycho, Godfather 2, and I watched Heat, which also had Robert De Niro in it. And I was like, oh, you know what, I like him as an actor. I searched a few other films that he'd been in. I saw Midnight Run, um, that's how I found the film originally.
No, that's fair. Uh so this film, right? For those who are unaware, basically some guy, he's doing accounts for like the mob, and he embezzles their money or something, steals it basically, and donates it to charity. And he needs to be brought back to a city in America.
Los Angeles.
It's Los Angeles, is it? I thought it was, but I didn't want to say just in case I was wrong. So he wants to bring him back so the person who paid his bail bonds or something, I don't know how that works, gets his money back. Or, yeah, I think that's it. And,
Yeah.
you know, shenanigans ensue throughout the entire film. This one bit of mess leading on to another bit of mess, and so on. Basically, Robert De Niro's like a bounty hunter. Turns out he was a cop, but then he left being a cop in Chicago. There's then a bounty hunter in LA. And so what are your thoughts on the film then? Because obviously it starts off with him like chasing down some random guy who has nothing really to do with the film, but it kind of sets up this Robert De Niro as well as the other guy whose name I forget, who was in Beverly Hills Cop.
Charles Grodin.
Yeah, that his name, the one who was in Beverly Hills Cop.
I don't know whether he's in Beverly Hills Cop, but I've got the Wikipedia page on, so.
Right. It's the guy who's got a beard, you know, the other bounty hunter.
Oh.
Yeah, sets up the dynamic straight away. And
I think that's John David Ashton, I believe.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm not familiar with many actors' names because I got the memory of a gnat. Yeah, so it's set up like showing the kind of dynamic between those. Like one of them's meant to be a better bounty hunter than the other one, but they both kind of shitty. Like it starts off like Robert De Niro almost gets shot with a shotgun. Fortunately, he ducks. Otherwise, it would be a very short film. And like he chases the guy out of a building. The other bounty hunter grabs him, and then Robert De Niro punches the other bounty hunter and knocks him out, and then runs off with the bounty. And then that's kind of when it all starts then proper. Like he gets his money from the other guy, the guy who's wants his money from
the bail.
Yeah. The bail money. So he tells him about this job, and he's like, yeah, I want 100,000 for doing it. And he's like, but it's a midnight run. You could do it easy. I don't know what a midnight run is. I have no idea what a midnight run is. I couldn't say. But it's from there on then. It starts off, he gets him really easily. And then, the entire film then is about bringing him back from like one state to another. I believe.
Right. Just to pick up on midnight run, it's a phrase that means an easy job.
Yeah, right. Clearly it wasn't an easy run. Because the FBI are trying to get this guy, the mob are trying to get this guy, the other bounty hunters trying to get this guy. Yes. It's a clusterfuck from start to finish. Like anything you like about the film particularly then? Because obviously, like the film is, a kind of typical kind of action-y kind of comedy film from the 80s, really. Now,
I think... Sorry, go on.
As I say, like two people who don't get on, by the end they get on, and kind of a bit cheesy, but not cheesy in that sense.
Yeah, but I mean, in some sort of way, it does remind me a bit of the first Toy Story with Woody and Buzz's relationship at first. Like it's like a road buddy movie, I guess. I think because I'm not like, as I say, I'm not massively into films, so I'd probably just be wouldn't be too invested in it if it's like pure action, but because it's got the comedy aspects and it's quite like it's not like an in your face comedy. It's quite subtle. It's sort of how the Robert De Niro and Charles Grodin interact with each other, and the Duke is sort of like an annoying sibling, and Robert De Niro, what's he called, Jack? He's just like quite straight, just like shut the fuck up and get to LA. So. And I think it does. I mean, it's sort of almost generic as it is. I think it hits the emotional beats quite well, like with the father-daughter reunion.
Yeah,
and Jack and the Duke's relationship starts to improve on the train when they have a bit of a joke about it, and they're like, you know what, in a different life, I'd still probably hate you. And a bit of a lasso. And then the ending as well. It's a good ending. Well, I say good ending as in, it's a happy ending, but maybe a bit cheesy, but I think it's well deserved, well earned at the end.
Yeah. I rather enjoyed it. Like I think it's really well played throughout. Like Robert De Niro playing this constant straight kind of guy for the most part is rather fucking great. I think it's one of the things in it. I know it's daft. He's like saying stuff to him. He's like, and I've got 2 words for you. Shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up. If you were going to ask me my favourite line, that would probably be it.
Yeah.
Or maybe when we were going into the airport and he's like, I suffer from agoraphobia and claustrophobia. And he's like, if you don't show up, you're going to suffer from fistophobia.
This is good, though, because obviously the film... I think if they'd gone on the plane, obviously it would be played out differently. The FBI would have been there, the mob would have been at the end, but it all cocks up from the start then because he's like, I can't fly, it's going to crash. And then he's like, oh, you can't take him on, yeah. And, it all obviously all plays out differently then. So they have to travel by car, by train, by, and another train by by several different cards.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's even by river rapids at one point.
Mm,
It's certainly like I wouldn't say comedy of errors because it's not really erroneous. I think obviously Adukas, the Duke, sort of deliberately, it's like these things go down and gets themselves booted off a plane. So and yeah, as you say, would have been over in about 30 minutes if they'd just got on the plane and got back to LA, but instead it goes on for a bit longer.
yeah. About 2 hours longer. Hour and a half. But yeah, like obviously it's like they're traveling across like however far in America. I don't know. But it's it's funny though, like the interactions between them, like on the train when they first get on the first train. It's like he locks him in a bathroom and he's like, "That's your room. This is my room." And he just sat in the toilet for ages. Then he finally lets him out into the room, and then he's like, he must have decided he wanted to go to sleep because he's back in the bathroom. Or he just got fed of him talking because he talks a lot. I think he talks just to annoy him, to be honest. But
Yeah, it does seem that like he definitely seems to have a good grip of how to get under your skin. As I say, it's like with an annoying younger brother, like when we're driving and he's just singing 99 bottles of beer on the wall.
yeah, it's funny how many times they have to switch things up. They have to try and get money in various different ways. If they steal, I don't know, many cars. Like he's like, yeah, I don't like people who break the law, kind of thing. They break about fucking 9 million just getting from one airport from one place to another.
Yeah, and I mean, in a way, because the bail bond guy Eddie, he sort of hires the other bounty hunter to go after him, and then that ends up messing up the job even more. So,
Yeah.
um,
I did like he's
that's
like, I want 1,000 and 100,000, and he's like, oh, I'll pay you the same as I'm paying Jack, $25,000. I was like, you, it's a quarter of the amount. Brilliant.
and yeah, but one other thing I do like, and it's quite a small touch, but it's like occasionally the characters would, and in particular Robert De Niro, would like mispronounce a word, and just keep it in. Like I think, um, trying to think of the example that came. Uh, like when we were talking about the chorizo meal and stuff, and there was another example where he mispronounced a word. I think he's when we're doing the getting the $20, and he's like doing the litmus configuration or whatever. Because I think that's sort of like people in real life that they're not always speaking eloquently without messing up. So it's just a few little touches there that I don't really see too often in media.
I wonder if that was him messing up and they just kept her in because they thought like it was intentionally like that.
Yeah, it's I mean could well be.
Who knows?
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah. Either way, I think it is subtle enough that if it was intentional, fair enough. But if it was, a mistake, it certainly didn't seem like it. It could have been, the director's intent to have it as a character trait. So
One thing I liked later in the film, where you were just talking about, is when they were pretending to be the like FBI when they went into that place to gather money, and then like just outside where they run in to get on the train, it's like they just robbed a place. Right, they ran in to jump on a freight train right in front of it. How daft can you be? Also, I like that as well. He's like, oh, what's this place called? He's like, oh, Red's Pub or Red's Inn, Red's Bar, Red, something like that. And he's like, oh, is your name Red? It's like, no, it's Jim. I don't know what his name was. And he's like, oh, so why'd they call you Red? It's short for Redwood because my last name is Wood. And I was like, what? What the fuck? Red has nothing to do with his name. Why did they call him Red?
Yeah, it's kind of. I mean, I had a few moments in mind, and then you sort of mentioned it's just a funny film. I think.
It is.
I think that's what of helps keep the pace quite flowing. And yeah, the soundtrack actually is done by Danny Elfman, who did the Simpsons theme.
Yeah.
And
Batman and
yeah,
that, didn't he? The movies. Batman 1989, I think.
that could be your next movie then.
Could be. Batman. Batman. I'm not Batman. Too fat. I'm Fat Man. Yeah.
So you haven't seen this film
I've
before,
seen
have you?
some of the film before. I
Right.
caught like a bit of it on TV before, but I didn't see it all.
Yeah.
But I rather
what-
enjoyed watching it from beginning to end.
Mm.
It was rather enjoyable. Maybe this is because I didn't make her watch films. Says, oh, what shit you making me watch now? And she actually didn't mind it. She thought it was all right. Like, she thought it was quite good. So that's a plus. Unlike at Cloud Atlas, where she was like, do not make me watch films again. And then I make her watch every one anyway. I'm a meanie.
Okay. So I'm glad I've sort of redeemed myself somewhat with a film choice.
Yeah, this is definitely for me a lot more fun to watch than Cloud Atlas. I know Cloud Atlas has a bit more going for it, and it's a bit more of a complex story and what have you. But I found it quite boring. Whereas this, it just was engaging throughout.
Yeah, I think like Cloud Atlas is obviously a bit more complicated in terms of its setup, whereas this is just going from A to B with a bit of a squiggle in between. So, it's not too difficult to follow, and you can just enjoy the action and enjoy the humor of it. So yeah, I think it's I don't often watch films, but this one was one film that has stuck in my head. So as sort of glad to get the excuse to rewatch it. But yeah, I think again, one of my sort of favorite aspects of it was it's got the humor, it's got the action, but it's also got the sort of emotional moments. And I think the relationship between Jack and the Duke is probably one of the highlights of it as well. Um, and just those two going off on each other is like, I guess, watching, as I say, siblings or best friends just annoying each other.
Yeah. Yeah, I really enjoyed the film. I think that it is if no one if someone hasn't seen this film, they should check it out. Like, it is fun from beginning to end. It's not super serious. It is funny. It does have some action scenes, although they're not like over the top. There is some like most of it is like silly stuff, and then you have like a bit of action to break it up more than anything, I would say. But it's really fun, and it's all well acted. I like all the characters in it.
Yeah,
Like,
and I think it still holds up today as well.
hmm?
You can it's not overwhelming you with I'm not familiar with the bail bond system in America, but you sort of get the gist of what they want. about having to understand that. So, um,
Yeah, I also kind of like the mob boss guy. He was like just a dick, and the way he treated his lawyer was brilliant. It's like, I will fucking, like, one of the things he says, something along the lines of, like, they talk, and he's like, if you tell me to fucking not do this, I'm going to jam this phone right through your fucking skull and stuff like that. What the fuck? Well, and then, like, when they
yeah,
were leaving, it's like, I know you're going to tell me not to do this, but why don't you sit down and have a fucking glass of milk and a sandwich? I'm like, what? A glass of milk and sandwich? Treating him like a child.
yeah, and that lawyer person probably. I know he only had a few lines and was told to shut the fuck up most of the time, but I think he probably was the most sensible out of any of the characters.
Mm.
Um, um,
Yeah, I'd agree. He's like, you give the guy good advice, and the guy didn't listen at all, ever.
so, just to settle this sort of philosophical debate, who do you think lied first? Do you think Jack lied first about letting him go? Do you think the Duke lied first about being able to fly?
The Duke lied first. uh,
Well, I do like his logic that when Jack lied to him, he didn't know that he had lied initially. So as far as Jack was concerned, he was lying first.
yeah. But he did say, though, he thought he might have been bluffing. So maybe he did believe he was lying, but he still couldn't make him fly.
True.
Who knows? I have
Who
to give
knows?
the writer a ring now and say, yo, dude. Who lied first?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it is a good little thing. Like, but you didn't know I was lying. Therefore, to you, you lied first.
I like how it's like, I don't know what on earth you're going on about.
Yeah, it's an enjoyable film. I guess we're going to wrap up soon. But is there anything you'd like to say about the film as like a kind of, little thing, little pitch for the film, little
Yeah,
thing, I don't know, thingy mabobber?
so I mean, it's available to watch on YouTube. It's I say it's fairly, 2-hour film, but I think I'd certainly recommend it if you want something good to watch, a bit light, and yeah, something funny as well.
Yes, it's a good film. I rather enjoyed it. It's quite different to the films I've watched recently, in that I'm pretty sure they've been quite a bit more serious. Like the last film we did for this with me and Kerr was Hippopotamus, and that's a very different film to that. This is like fun, and the other one's like odd. But yeah, I think if you enjoy a good buddy bro kind of thing, but not quite. It's kind of a film where you have two people who don't get on, gradually get on. Lots of silly situations arise. There's a bit of action, bit of comedy. It's all good. Check it out. Well worth it, in my opinion.
Yeah. And, I mean, if I were to give it a rating, I'd probably give it maybe 90%.
Ooh, I would give it an 8 out of 10 because I go with tens because I'm lazy.
Okay. Oh, 9 out of 10 then.
Yeah, it is very good. It's definitely worth a watch. Like I said, all the characters in there are good. They're all acted well. Just
What's your
generally
favourite
lots of fun.
character?
Don't know. I don't know because I like Jack and the Duke together. I think them two together are kind of like, a good. They play off each other well. So it's. What about yourself?
It's yeah, but I mean, yeah, it's tough because I think Jack and the Duke do go hand in hand. I did like the FBI agent Mosley.
Mosley
I
was
liked
good,
how
yeah.
he kept stealing his cigarettes, and
Yeah.
then there's one scene when he gets on the train and the sort of train staff's like, "Oh, this guy was also an FBI agent called Mosley," and just like, "I'm Mosley." Just out of nowhere. So, yeah, I think aside from the two main guys, I think yeah, Mosley.
Yeah. Overall, like I said, really good film. Check it out. Like Jeff said, it's on YouTube, so it's easy to get to watch. Good film. I enjoyed the pick by Jeff. Who knows when he's on next or more he'll pick next? It'll probably be something that's an hour long because he seems to be going hours.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm fine
everything
for
works
your
out
bet.
in the end. They get married and live
Exactly.
happily ever after. That doesn't happen.
Choose another long film.
In the, well, last time I gave you 2 hours. Before that, 3. This time I'm combining the two and giving you a 5-hour film.
As they say, that'd be the other Robert De Niro film, Killers of the Flower Moon.
Haven't seen it.
I watched it in with Penny actually in cinema.
Oh, nice.
It's, actually, it's 206 minutes.
Ah, fair enough.
So, yeah, that's like 3.5 hours.
Ah. Yeah, I think that is going to be us then. As I said, I like the film. Jeff likes the film. We all like the film. You should watch the film. Yeah, I'll see you again very, very soon. Next time. No idea what the film will be, but next
Later.
time. Catch you later, everyone. Bye-bye.
Hey.
Why aren't you popular with Chicago Police Department?
Something that really doesn't concern you.
She hurt you, Jack?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
What are you sorry about?
I'm sorry you're hurt.
I'm not hurt.
You just said you were hurt.
I'm not hurt.
You just said you were
I didn't
hurt.
say I was hurt. You said I was
I
hurt.
asked you if you were hurt, and you said, yeah, I'm hurt.
That's because you made me say. You're starting to put words in my mouth.
Jack, you're a grown man. You have control over your own words.
You're goddamn right I do. So here come 2 words for you. Shut the fuck up.